Hey, what's up, team? Welcome in. Good to see you. So, recently there has been a 4chan leak describing the next Souls like game by Fromsoft after Armored Core being a game called Spellbound. And so, let's go ahead and dig into this 4chan leak and take a look at it and see what we find. So, here we go. So, 4chan user claims that From Software's next game after Armored Core is called Spellbound and that it might be teased at the Game Awards this year. Sounds exciting. Let's see. So about the game has been development since mid 2021. The current release window is for Q1 2025. Earliest possible reveal is a few seconds long trailer during this year's The Game Award. Only a few seconds, that's it. Earliest possible trailer will be shown summer 24, most likely June 2024. So that's like about a little bit over a year. Game directed by Miyazaki. Let's go. The game will be published by From Software. Next gen consoles, PC, PS5, Xbox Series X. The game is a spin-off from the Souls formula and with a heavy emphasis on magic. See, I heard about this a couple of days ago. There's going to be physical weapons, but mainly there's going to be like magic weapons too. The game takes place late 18th century European inspired fictional world. So it's going to be like Bloodborne, but instead there's going to be a lot of magic and there's going to be water. So pretty interesting, sounds like. The game is not a spiritual sequel to Bloodborne, and the game has no connections with Bloodborne. So instead of making Bloodborne Remake, or Bloodborne Remastered, or Bloodborne 2, they're just going to go with like a European style. Sounds like, if this is even true. The game has one very large legacy dungeon, which is the city in which the game takes place. In an open world outside of it, the city is about 2 to 3 times larger than all of Elden Ring's dungeons combined, and is probably the most interconnected world FromSoft has designed so far. The open world segment of the game is as big as 2 or 3 world areas of Elden Ring. The open world segments of the game contain forests, farmlands, mountainous areas, coast, villages, and smaller dungeons. Overall, the game size is probably smaller than Elden Ring. Well, yeah, Elden Ring was probably a pretty large game, and they probably are not going to go that big again for like a little bit. They just wanted to do something grand in scope, and now it's time to like maybe pull it back. Everybody kind of wanted them, or mainly a lot of the people in the PvP community didn't like the big open world design, and they kind of wanted us to go back to the other design. And also keep in mind like how big the map is determines like how many people we get to have play. Obviously, Elden Ring, we only got 4 players because the map is big and it's trying to render all this stuff. And last-gen consoles probably held us back as the reason why. So yeah, people would probably be glad about a little bit smaller game if we could get 6 players in the world. I'm sure a lot of people would take that. Let's see, further gameplay details. In this game, the main divergence from the series is the main focus of the game are spells. Like I said earlier, there's normal weapons, but it's mainly spells. Spells can be wielded like weapons and have moves that's like normal weapons. Charged R2, R1, R1 combo. R1, R1, R1 combos. That implies that we're going away from passive poise, and that we're going back to like more like Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3, like active poise with like hard hyper armor. There is no mana MP bar in the game. The spells do have a finite use. They use stamina, which generates, yeah, so no FP or mana and just stamina. Melee weapons in the game, but melee builds are still a viable option. It's just a main focus of the game is on spells. There are melee weapons with magical abilities, projectiles. Of course, there's more projectiles. Like, they made Elden Ring, so we gotta have projectiles. There's a similar system, Ashes of War. Oh yeah, they like the Ashes of War system. I could see how they would like that, and they would continue to do that. The game has no set of protagonists, and there is a character creator. The game will have multiplayer. There is no challenge dungeon-like system that I'm aware of. There's a great emphasis on customizing your gear and clothing. Customizing your gear and clothing gives them various effects that changes them both visually and gameplay. See, now we saw this in the trailer for Elden Ring, one of the trailers that you can customize your gear, but it's not even good. All you can do is take off the cape and then it lowers the poise. If they get rid of passive poise and they go back to active poise, and then they let you change your gear around and they flush it out a little bit better than what we got, or really a lot better than what we got in Elden Ring, I'm sure it would be a hit. People love customization. They want to have fashion souls. They want to be able to change things around. This is one of the big like woes I heard about the game, is that the customizing gear and stuff really didn't go anywhere like we thought it would. There are weapons that are similar to trick weapons from Bloodborne, but these have a magical stance and a normal melee stance instead of a physical transformation. Their game in general is a bit more action-oriented and less RPG-oriented. I would classify it as being much more RPG-oriented than Sekiro and a bit less than Bloodborne. Interesting. There are underwater areas in the game and the player character can swim. Okay, so they did the torrent thing so you could ride around and now you can swim. The player character can crouch, jump, and hug walls, however they cannot climb. So there's no ladders in the game, or they just mean like no climbing like Tomb Raider. There is a day and night cycle in the game, however it is mostly visual and it only has some effects on the enemies in a few select areas. Didn't we hear about some monsters in Elden Ring were going to be stronger at nighttime? I don't think that we really saw that at all. Blah blah blah. If there's any more future information, then he'll drop it. So what do you guys think about the Bloodborne-esque 18th century European inspired fictional world? What do you guys think about like the big legacy dungeon? What do you guys think about like the underground world? See, this goes back to like we keep hearing these clues about the next game is going to have water in it. Remember the lore of Aldrich Thal, the sea. So they're going to do something with that. The sea, the water, the ocean, something like this is going to come to the forefront for the next Souls game. Some of this stuff seems like it could be pretty accurate. A lot of this, even if the guy made it up, would be a pretty safe bet to say for a game, considering what we saw and what we could reasonably speculate we would get about the next Souls game. But sounds pretty interesting. Magic style game. You can swim. Large open world. I like chalice dungeons, but with a giant world, we probably don't really need them. We would probably need chalice dungeons for like the game like that with like the smaller levels and stuff. But I heard about this a couple of days ago. I saw a video and a guy pointed it out. I'll put this link below in the video description for you guys so you can check this out for yourselves. If you guys have any comments, feel free to leave them below. What do you think? Do you have any ideas? What do you want to see in the next game? I know everybody's going to say more players in the world, because Elden Ring definitely like dropped the ball on that. We went forward and then we went back to like less players, so probably more players is like the #1 thing that I think that people want at this time. But seems pretty good. 2024, so yeah, let's just wait a year and then we'll see what happens. So love you guys, appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Leave a comment and I'll see you later.